Okay. On behalf of the New York State Department of Transportation, I would like to welcome you here tonight to the open house, which will really serve to update Central New York on the status of the I-81 Viaduct Project. My name is Mark Frechette. I work for the Department of Transportation as the project director for the I-81 Viaduct Project. I want to recognize our federal partners here tonight. Rick Marquise. Rick, if you want to stand up, please. Rick is the Federal Highway Division Administrator for New York State. Rick, thank you for coming tonight. And I want to thank your team that's here. Tricia Millington's here, Kara Hogan, Kaylee Kramer. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight we're here mainly for three reasons. First, the state wants to re-engage the public on this project. This engagement plays one of the most important roles in the entire process and will ultimately lead to a successful outcome. Second, this is a very complicated project with an enormous amount of material. We are here tonight to start that process of sharing some of that information with you. And third, and probably most important, is the DOT and the project team is here to listen. We're here to listen to what you have to say. From the beginning, this has been a give and take process that has really helped to shape the solutions that you see here today. I would be the first to say that the Department of Transportation does not have all of the answers. So your feedback that we continue to receive is extremely important. On April 22nd, 2019, the New York State Department of Transportation released a preliminary draft environmental impact statement that we call the preliminary DEIS. This was done in advance of Federal Highway's review and approval. This preliminary DEIS was released to provide the community with a status of the project, to summarize the various options, including the viaduct, the community grid, and the tunnel solutions. The release of this preliminary DEIS affords us the opportunity to start discussing with you the potential impacts of each of these three build options. Through an open dialogue, it will help DOT mitigate impacts to our community. DOT has not finalized the DEIS, and we will hold additional public meetings to allow for your community input on the formal document once it is released. I-81 is an international trade route which travels from Canada to Tennessee. As we all know here in Syracuse, it is a critical route that provides connections to other major interstates like Interstate 690, Interstate 481, and of course, Interstate 90, the thruway. But it also provides primary local access to downtown, to the University Hill area, to SU, to the hospitals, and to the neighborhoods. It is this connectivity that is essential to influence the livability, economic vitality, and sustainability of Central New York. Our objectives have not changed. They remain the same today as they did previously. The New York State Department of Transportation needs to enhance safety within our transportation system. We will do that by fixing the structural deficiencies associated with our downtown bridges. We will add shoulders. We will lengthen on and off ramps. And we will correct a host of other non-standard features that exist today. This project will breathe new life into the city of Syracuse and central New York by increasing the regional economic competitiveness and economic development opportunities for residents and businesses. The project will provide new and enhanced vehicle, pedestrian, transit, and bicycle connections. DOT wants to build a 21st century infrastructure solution that the residents, motorists, and visitors deserve here in central New York. I'm going to start by talking about the community grid alternative. The Department of Transportation continues to listen to central New York, and it has changed many components of the community grid alternative since our last major public open house meeting back in October 2016. One of the more significant changes we are now recommending that between I-81 at the northern interchange, I-81 481 here, and I-81 481 to the south, would be redesignated as Business Loop 81. I-41 would become new I-81 with multiple transportation upgrades. So what is a business loop? Essentially, it is a route that leads into a downtown business district and returns to the freeway on the other end. Our Business Loop 81 would be a high-speed freeway north of Interstate 690, which is right here, this whole section, and south of MLK East, which is down here, down near the dome. This is similar to the way the highway functions today, with high speeds into and out of Syracuse. In a few slides, I will discuss that 1.4 mile section of viaduct section that Business Loop 81 would replace in downtown. And of course, I'm talking about that section south of I-690 and north of the MLK Junior East. I will tell you how the Department of Transportation will disperse north-south and east-west traffic in Syracuse to alleviate the current bottlenecks that exist today, specifically at the intersections of Allman and Adams, and specifically at Allman and Harrison. New York State Department of Transportation would own the entire Business Loop 81 route and bear responsibility for its operation and maintenance. I-41, as I mentioned, would receive major highway improvements under the community grid alternative. DOT would reconstruct the two interchanges to the north, I-81 Business Loop 81 and I-81 Business Loop 81 to the south. And we would do that so that motorists can travel at 65 miles per hour to the new 81. People coming in from the north would be able to maintain 65, and from the south they'd be able to maintain 65 on that corridor. We would have a minimum of 2 lanes in both directions, with upgrades to 3 lanes in the following sections. First, we'd build a 3rd lane southbound from the interchange up here to Northern Boulevard, which is right in that area, to that exit. We'd also build a 3rd lane southbound from Kirkville Road, which is right in this area, to I-690. And then we would build a 3rd lane northbound from I-690 up to the thruway at I-90, right in this area. New I-81 and Business Loop signs plus wayfinding upgrades would also occur. I want to move to that downtown area of Business Loop 81 where the current 1.4 mile viaduct section exists. DOT would keep the 81 shield through Syracuse. High-speed motorists coming from destinations south of Syracuse, down here, like Lafayette, Tully, Binghamton, who are heading north, would transition to a 30-mile-per-hour speed at the MLK Junior East, down by the dome area, which is down here. There's a picture of the dome right there. They would take Allman, which currently is under the viaduct today, up to Erie Boulevard and onto Pearl Street. Once they got back off from Pearl Street, that would return them to a high-speed facility heading north. High-speed motorists coming from the north this way. Destinations heading south, like North Syracuse, Cicero, Watertown, who are heading south, would take Oswego Boulevard over to Erie Boulevard, back to Allman, and once they got to MLK East, they would hit the high-speed freeway once they got by that. The Business Loop 81 concept supports connectivity between our downtown neighborhoods and the suburbs. The Business Loop 81 concept supports economic development by providing a consistent, simplified numbering system that would make it easier for travelers to find their way around and through Syracuse. As mentioned earlier, DOT would own the Business Loop 81 corridor in its entirety. This includes the section in downtown Syracuse, and we will continue to work with the city and coordinate ownership with the city. The idea behind the community grid alternative, though, is much more than just the Business Loop 81. The community grid alternative looks to efficiently get people to where they want to go. There are numerous improvements to local streets that will disperse traffic and provide new ways to access the city from both the Business Loop 81 as well as Interstate 690. DOT will build new access points at Krause, at Irving, and at Oswego Boulevard right here. This is being built for faster, more direct access to destinations downtown in the University Hill area. DOT will also maintain Clinton Street, which is this exit, the West Street interchange, and the Pearl Street on-ramp to disperse local traffic throughout the city. Motorists living in the south of the city heading north would also see the grid activated by a number of transportation upgrades that the Department of Transportation would like to do as part of the project. By creating a new access point at MLK Jr. down here and Van Buren Street, we can improve access to the south side and University Hill from the south. DOT can alleviate the existing congestions and bottlenecks between Adams and Harrison along the Almond Street corridor. The Department of Transportation will also convert many streets from one-ways to two-ways, including Krause, Irving, Adams, and Harrison, to better connect neighborhoods and the community. The community grid alternative provides the greatest opportunities for pedestrian, bicycle, and transit enhancements to promote a livable, walkable community. The community grid alternative is projected to take 5 years to build and has a total cost of $1.9 billion. It requires the acquisition of 4 commercial buildings, of which none are historic. I'm going to transition to the tunnel analysis that New York State DOT has been working on. In total, the Department of Transportation has analyzed 17 different tunnel solutions for the replacement of the I-81 Viaduct. The latest analysis was done on the orange tunnel concept. There are multiple displays in the ballroom related to the orange tunnel concept. This concept was recommended for further study back in December of 2017. The tunnel would carry 2 through lanes in each direction, with tunnel portals just south of James Street on the north side, and a southern portal just south of MLK East Junior. Once in the tunnel, there would be no exits downtown. The use of ventilation buildings as shown in the top picture, this one's from Seattle, and continuous treatment of the saline groundwater would be required. 4 streets would be severed as part of the tunnel concept as it returns back to the surface. Those streets include Washington Street, Jackson, Burt, and Van Buren at Almond Street. The Orange Tunnel concept is projected to take 11 years to build. It has a total cost that is more than double the viaduct and community grid solutions at $4.9 billion. The tunnel requires operations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and that estimated cost is estimated to cost the state $16.5 million per year. The Orange Tunnel solution acquires 17 buildings, 9 of which are historic. Transitioning to the viaduct replacement. The Department of Transportation has analyzed 5 different viaduct replacement options, which retain similar access points to downtown Syracuse and the University Hill area. Construction would include the 2 missing connections between I-81 and I-690 that are today served by Bear and Hiawatha. I am referring to building the I-81 southbound to I-690 westbound and the I-690 eastbound to I-81 northbound. Under this option, we would have no enhancements to the Interstate 481 corridor. The Department of Transportation would build the new viaduct wider and higher to address many of the geometric issues that we have today. But that would limit the economic development opportunities as the new viaduct would have a larger footprint. Construction is anticipated to take 6 years, has a total cost of $2.2 billion, and would require acquisition of 24 buildings, 10 of which are historic. As you can see from the comparison of alternatives, the community grid has the shortest construction duration. It acquires the lowest number of buildings, and none of the 4 to be acquired are historic or residential. The community grid has the lowest costs. It reconnects neighborhoods and supports economic development. The community grid alternative enhances safety and supports public health across all policies. There are many boards displayed here tonight to further explain the work that we have planned. The project team members will be here on hand to discuss the project with you and answer any questions till 8 o'clock tonight. We would ask that you please fill out comment sheets to let us know your thoughts. We do have a stenographer out in the lobby. If you'd like to just dictate your comments to that person, that is fine. Alternatively, you can reach us on our webpage, email us. This presentation and all boards shown tonight will be posted to our website later this week. After tonight and over the next 6 weeks, DOT will go into the city neighborhoods and the suburbs to further engage the community on this transformational Central New York project. The schedule of those meetings is available at the welcome desk. Just pick up a flyer on the way out. I want to thank you for attending tonight, and I would ask the project team members to return to your station so we can continue the dialogue with you. Thank you for coming.